Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the BABYMETAL Podcast. It's November 18th, 2018 for most of us as we record. The podcast is the place where we gather on alternate weeks to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of BABYMETAL. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Hello.
Garrett.
Hello.
And Vars.
Hi.
Perfect. Okay, so the plan here is that we will talk through a few topics each show. While there is news to talk about, we'll likely talk about that, though we plan to also talk about some historical things like old performances, interviews, merchandise, other things that you might not have encountered yet if you're new around here. All of us have had, a first time seeing Metrock 2015 or the Scoopers interview or whatever, and maybe we'll find something that's new to you, but it's also fun for us to revisit things, that we already know. So we'll try to announce these in advance, I think, if we can, so that we can all watch them before the discussion. And I think conceptually what I like to think of this podcast as being sort of a recreation of the experience of like waiting in line before a show. So this is episode 1. Quite a few things have happened recently that we'll be talking about for a while, and we will not talk about them all on this episode. In fact, we are probably going to postpone even proper introductions of we, the hosts, until we've gotten through some of the big topics. So we can now get started. So there's an obvious topic 1. We pretty much can't talk about anything but this as topic 1, which is Yui Mizuno's announcement. So as we all know, there was an official announcement on the various BABYMETAL social media that said, let me open this up here. Everybody's read this, I understand, but nevertheless, as a reminder, thank you for continually supporting BABYMETAL. We would like to inform you of BABYMETAL's new beginning, which will be effective starting this month, BABYMETAL World Tour 2018 in Japan performances. So this was at, October 19th, so a little bit before the Japan shows. Yuimetal has expressed her desire to return performing with the group in the following months after last December's performance due to health concerns. During her absence, both Yuimetal and moa-metal, as well as the entire staff team, had been preparing for her awaited return. However, Yuimetal came to a decision that she will not be performing at BABYMETAL World Tour 2018 in Japan, and that she will no longer be a part of BABYMETAL. And then, no one can read the rest of it because, the screen gets blurry, right? So, and actually then there was also a message to the fans. The short version of this, I'll just read highlights, but I've been absent from BABYMETAL's recent concerts. I'm truly sorry for giving trouble to many people. I had thought again and again, but now it was decided that I leave BABYMETAL. I'm sorry, apologetic. I'm not in perfect health even now, and I have a wish to move forward to my own long-lasting dream, so I decided in this way. And you should definitely read it all, not my little summary, but that's topic 1. That is a huge thing. And so the thing I want to just start talking about is just take a moment to sort of express our probably very similar thoughts about this, think about what it means and that sort of thing. So maybe Kevin, we can start with you. What thoughts do you have?
Yeah, sure. I'll get the ball rolling here. I'm sad like everybody else. I came into the fan base, just a couple of years ago. My first show was Palladium. Was that last year, I suppose, at this point? And, little did I know that tour and that show was the only time I was going to see all 3 of them perform together. So my first thought was just kind of reflection on, well, man, that's kind of a bummer that I don't get to fly to Japan, for example, and see the full stage production with all 3 of them. The more I got to thinking about it, I started asking myself, why did I get into this group in the first place? And first and foremost, it was the music. The kawaii, the girls, they're fun to watch, and I enjoy their performances. But for me, the music has always been first. So just, I let myself grieve a little bit, I suppose, as it were, but, still hopeful for the future that, the music is still going to be great. I think the music so far has been good, from what we've seen of upcoming albums, things like that. And, the other thing I thought of too is, well, I'm glad she had the maturity and presence of mind to make a decision that she felt was right for her. I'm sure it's equally gutting for her, if not more so, to leave basically what she's grown up with, since before she was a teenager. and pursue something new. That's really scary to do at 19 years old, especially when you already have an established career and income and all these great things looking forward. And if it's the right decision for her health, I have a hard time being angry or feeling bad because she made the decision for her. It's not my place to be angry or upset with that.
Yeah, definitely. Vars, what do you think?
For me, I'm a Yui fan, so it was very, very upsetting. In 3 weeks' time, I'm going to see my very first BABYMETAL show, and I was sort of expecting Yui to be there, but unfortunately, no. For the most part, I'm just happy that we know what's happening with her, because it was just silence for months. There was so much speculation going on, and I'm just happy that she's made her decision and we know what she wants to do from now on. Well, not for the future, but we know that that she's not going to be part of BABYMETAL, and she will want to pursue something else in the future.
I totally agree with both of them. It's always been in the music. I've always loved their music. In fact, my first year of fandom of BABYMETAL, I didn't even realize what the girls looked like or didn't know their names. And now they've grown on me so much, I felt tragically, very sad that Yui left. But, it's a changing world. Everybody's got to move on. They're going to have to do something new. It had no other choice, clearly.
Yeah. I think, so for me, I guess, obviously I agree with much of this. I sort of started, I don't know, and I guess probably about a year ago, which is, October 2017 was about when I got into this myself. And I would say, in the Discord, I put myself in an all role, but I probably favored Yui. And so it's and I was, with everybody else waiting to see if maybe the next one was the one that she'd appear at.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So, it's, there's a relief in not having that uncertainty. And, it does seem, assuming we take everything at basically face value, which seems like the most sensible thing, it does seem like basically they intended to bring her back if she could come back, and it's been long enough that she decided she's not going to make him wait. And we probably will see her do something in the future. So that's also something, I am impatient for, but
for sure.
But yeah, it's certainly possible to follow both careers, so, and I intend to do that. But yeah, it's a major event though. It's a change to get used to, and we don't know. I would say we don't really know where it's going. I have ideas about things that could happen, and I have ideas about which of those things are better than the other things, but who knows, really.
The Fox God knows.
Well, of course, yes. That goes without saying. But yeah, anyway, so there's a lot of speculation. It is kind of fun. It can be kind of antagonizing in some ways. But yeah, I think we all hope that it won't be too long before we see her doing something, and we are all hoping she's happy as possible. Presumably it was got to have been something major that happened a year ago. So, or in December, I guess. But yeah, so the kind of thing that people are speculating about are, it's essentially to what extent is what we've seen in 2018 going to be like what we see in 2019? And there are various ways that could go, and I don't know. Do you guys want to even wade into this?
I've mentioned before, if you go back and listen to our episode 0 in one of those old episodes, I think we are where we are in 2018 because of the uncertainty surrounding her return. And, it's like writing a bad movie. Sometimes you write yourself in the script into a corner and you just don't know how to get out of it. And I think that's partly why we're on this dark side trip. They needed to come up with something quick, something they can do with just Sue and Moa. to fulfill their tour obligations, to promote new music, things like that. So I think going into 2019, I think we can expect a new album. You know, we have, what do we have? We have 4 songs: Elevator Girl, Tattoo, Starlight, and Distortion. 5 if you count In the Name Of. So they're steaming along towards that new album next year sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta think they're gonna change the way they present their product again once they're ready to get out there and start promoting and pushing this album. I wasn't around for the launch of Metal Resistance in the fandom, but from what I remember and from what I've read and heard from other fans is that once the album was close and dropped, that's when their media blitz kind of started. So I'm kind of hoping that's what we're going to see. We're going to get back to interviews. We're going to get back maybe to a sense of normalcy. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what I'm going to use to describe it. So I think we'll see something different in 2019. And I guess part of me hopes we'll see something different in 2019.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think it could be, so now that the uncertainty is kind of behind us, they can do media again. I mean, it doesn't make that much sense before there's something to promote. But, you know, they seemed like they were very clearly steering away from all media, you know, before any decisions were made.
Yeah, so, I was, I guess, a little vocal on this too in social media and things like this, being disappointed that we weren't at the very least getting post-show photos, or, and, you know, if they did an interview, disappointing that they weren't doing interviews. But, you know, I think you got to remember too, they weren't sure what was going on with Yui at some point, right? We don't know when all of this really took place, but if you are a music publication journalist doing an interview with these girls, you know, if you're worth anything, really, your first question is got to be about where's your third member, right? Or something along those lines. So I think it was business strategy to kind of keep them away from the media.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm convinced of that. And I'm also fairly convinced that they really didn't know until about the time that the announcement happened. You know, like at least everything that happens makes sense, you know, with that as a backdrop.
In retrospect, sure.
So, yeah, and I mean, so something different is going to happen in 2019. I'm sure they're going to promote themselves. We're going to see a lot more of them. There's a clear question, I think, about what the shape is going to be, because I think there's a weird, there's a weird imbalance that's left if there's just 2, and something probably needs to break that. Either less of an imbalance or more than 2. You know, I mean, like,
right.
Who knows? Yeah. I don't know, Garrett, did you want to add any thoughts to this?
I want to take the of just replacing Yui. It's hard to say, and nobody's like, I understand that nobody's going to like it at first, but I think it'd be a viable option because they can't hardly tour with 7 members efficiently. That'd be so much more work.
Yeah, I suspect that probably wouldn't be the biggest consideration, because big groups do manage to tour, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question to know, like, what they think of their image, you know, because it certainly seems like we all know them pretty well, you know, like we know the individuals involved pretty well.
Yes.
And so, you know, is that a crucial part of the vision of this band or not? You know, it might be, in which case
I would have liked to think so, but
well, I'm definitely among the people who would like that to continue to be true.
Yeah.
But almost everything that we know about them, we know from their sort of alternate side, which was the Sakura Gakuen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, I think there's been a lot of discussion of, like, if they were going to add a new member, and I would always want to say that as that rather than use any version of the verb replace.
Correct.
Then you know, there's all kinds of people bring up, you know, ideas of, like, who they think it maybe should be, and I don't know if that's productive or not. I suspect it is not, because all we know very little about like who's available, who's interested, and it's quite possible that someone we don't now know could well become known to us. So
it's a pretty intense job. I wouldn't want to apply for it, even if I were qualified.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the most obvious issue that I have with some of these discussions is that it's not obvious that everybody would jump at the chance if they had this. I mean, it's a huge undertaking. It's a big, it is instant fame, but that may not be what any individual person is after. So
I would go so far to say it's a lifestyle decision. We don't know exactly how much they rehearse and things and prepare for shows, but to execute at the level they do, we can infer that it's quite a bit. And you're traveling all over the world. You're probably early 20s, late teens, young girl who probably has her own ambitions and things like that. It's a big decision. It's a big job. And there probably aren't a whole lot of people out there willing and qualified together that would want to do it, I would think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the other thing too is that it is for any other candidate, it is quite different from what they're doing. I mean, like the music style is a entirely different world. So, okay, I think is anyone else? Vars, I don't know if you wanted another word in on this.
I think for the most part, I agree. I just think what happened this year, there was something planned, and unfortunately, due to what was happening, it just didn't plan out properly, and a lot of confusion happened.
Yeah, I like to think, I guess I have a sort of a benevolent view of all of this, which is that they were stuck with a couple of really just big problems, and they did a fairly good job of dealing with it. I mean, like they had some constraints. They did what they could, and I'm not sure that there were other decisions that I would have made differently. So don't know. Anyway, yes. Okay, so I think we can move on to the second topic, which is related. But the second topic is the BABYMETAL World Tour 2018 in Japan. So previous shows have discussed, like the previous in the episode 0 history of the podcast talked about what was happening in the summer. In fact, that is kind of why that exists. But now, we are just now past all of the shows that were in Japan, which were 5, I think.
Yes.
So, I don't know. So just to quickly run them down. And I never did learn how to pronounce this first venue. Does anyone know offhand?
Is that Makuhari?
Yeah. That's not the word I'm not sure how to pronounce.
Makuhari, I think.
No, I got that. What's it's Messe? Messe,
I think.
Messe. Okay.
Totally guessing.
Wonderful. But so the first 2 shows were at, I'll just say Makuhari, now that I've managed to spend a minute talking about this. October 23rd and 24th, they had the shows just immediately after the announcement about Yuimetal. And what appeared was so Starlight also came out, right? October 19th, right? I guess.
Yes.
Just 19th. A couple of days, right?
Yeah. Same day as the announcement. And they managed to, so they traded Tattoo for Starlight. They had 3 additional dancers. The outfit changed, and Galactic Empire opened. So maybe we can just start with that. What do we think about Galactic Empire, the outfits, Starlight, from what we could tell from the fan cams?
I love the Galactic Empire.
Yeah, as a Star Wars fan, I was a little jealous that I wasn't at those shows. I love Star Wars.
I can't believe I didn't hear them before.
Yeah. I follow Galactic Empire a little bit. I found them on YouTube a little while ago before they announced, and I was really excited when I heard they get to open.
Oh, that's wild. So you knew them even before.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm that deep in the Star Wars rabbit hole that they were not new to me.
I followed Sabaton a little bit before the shows was even announced.
That's cool. Yeah, I basically had not heard of either of them before this, but but I love the quirkiness. There's just the idea of picking Galactic Empire.
Well, I guess it makes sense, right? You go back to 2016, and all the lore was like, if you watch Wembley, it's basically how much Star Wars can we rip off for our lore injection during this concert?
Dude, it's all the dark side. The whole dark side lore is just so Star Warsy. It's hilarious. It's just so ironic.
It really is. It's kind of a hilarious fit, I suppose.
That's true. Somehow I seriously never connected the choice of Galactic Empire with the dark side message.
Yeah.
But you're totally right. I mean, like, obviously there's something. Obviously, Koba himself is deeply influenced by Star Wars.
You got to think so, right?
But yeah, I just the idea I thought was great, and I think Starlight. I'm sort of sad. I mean, like, I don't know what they could have done apart from trading Starlight for Tattoo, but it's too bad that they didn't play both. It's cool that they played Starlight immediately.
Yeah,
I wish I could have heard it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that were suggesting that Tattoo might have actually not been originally written as a Sue solo. They just threw it in for the U.S. tour because they needed something to showcase her voice, I guess.
I thought of that too.
So that might be one of the reasons they swapped it out. Because it was originally designed to be performed with both Moe and Yui. I can talk.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's certainly the impression. It's always been weird that she's out there with like backup vocals not represented by people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and so of course, what was a little bit funny about these, original shows is that the Japan shows is that largely what we here who weren't in Japan got to see, and actually even the people who are in Japan, because almost all you see is the screen for the majority of the people there. But we didn't get super clear images of what their outfits were, but they looked pretty crazy in the like super low resolution fuzzy cams.
What about Sue's hairstyle though?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, I think it turned. I mean, they looked
pipe cleaners.
Can they confirm their dreads or no?
Well, it seemed like they were dreadlocks of some kind, but I don't know if that's. I mean, actually, even now I don't really know, because the good photos we have are from a different show.
We got pro shots of some of those concerts, right? And they did not look like dreadlocks. They looked like pipe cleaners. To me, it looked like, if I had to guess, their hair was pulled back and like in a bun with like an ornament around it.
Yeah, sort of feathered.
Like feathered out. So yeah, I don't think they were dreads.
Oh, nice. That's actually cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I'm not sure that the hair is the same. So the next shows after that were the Dark Knight Carnival, which is the late announcement, but had both opening bands, and was just sort of so both Galactic Empire and Sabaton opened, and they did a little stunt where they played Metataro without like, that was the first time it's been played this whole tour, and they brought out one member from each of the opening bands to come stand on stage and not know what they're doing.
It was a beautiful moment. Darth
Vader standing next to Moa saluting with a lightsaber is something I really wish I got to see and experience in person.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was at the cost of GJ, but and I don't know why these people can't play more than like 11 songs or whatever. I mean, whatever.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Well, there's a theory on that, isn't there?
There are theories on many things, but did you want to say this theory?
Well, from that, what's that guy's name? That YouTuber who did that full-on video on the whole tour. His theory was due to the Kamis and Yui.
AwesomeCake?
Yeah, the AwesomeCake guy. He said something about, because of Mikio's passing, having later on the Kami team, that they were sort of restricted because, Mikio was a usual on the Kami team, and he was like always there, while Leda was sort of a backup, and he didn't know all the songs. He couldn't they couldn't do more songs better, or something like that. I don't know the exact theory, but that's something.
Well, yeah, I mean, so maybe I should just briefly promote the AwesomeCake video. This, by the way, I don't know AwesomeCake myself, and I don't know what to call him except for AwesomeCake. But he's the one. If you have ever seen this little video that says, "But it's BABYMETAL, so I need it," when he's holding the LP, he fairly recently put a pretty long YouTube video up that kind of went through a lot of these topics. But yeah, that was one of them that essentially the band didn't have enough time to prepare much more than what they did. And I think he may be right. I think he might be right about the fact that some of the songs needed more preparation than there was time for, but it still doesn't explain why songs that were played before couldn't be played later. I mean, like, by the time they got to Dark Knight Carnival, they had played 14 different songs or something like that in the tour. So
there's just so many variables we don't know. I'm not even comfortable speculating as to why their shows are shorter now.
Yeah. It is. I was a little bit surprised though that when they were in Japan, they weren't more elaborate. The stage set was nice, but anyway. So yeah, the Dark Knight Carnival, we had a little bit of Fancam stuff from ahead of it that it was my spirit was lifted. I don't know, did any of you kind of watch some of the live feeds before the show?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of them. Yeah, I agree. I was okay. They can still do their thing. I guess that was the reassuring part of it for me. They're still BABYMETAL. The music is still good. The stage show got a little weird. I don't really want to talk about the backup dancers in length because that's a very controversial topic. But yeah, I agree. My spirits, I think, were a little lifted as well.
When I was there was, I think, some broadcast of the, what do you call it, Periscope, I guess, or the Instagram, where there was some feed of like someone just actually in the line ahead of it before it started, and it was great. There were people having fun. It was like a fun line, and in a way that I think most other lines were a little anxious.
Yeah, sure.
So
it's a good word to describe it, at least from the U.S. tour.
Yeah, well, and every single show was like, is there gonna be some big event that's gonna happen at this one? And no, they're all the same. And I remember also thinking that Sabaton was a great choice for an opening band when I was like listening to the Dark Knight Carnival, because they somehow they really sort of like were great hype.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
So okay, and then after that there were the Kobe shows, October 30th and 31st. So Dark Knight Carnival was the Halloween show that was held like a few days before Halloween. But and then TV Tokyo showed a bit of the like, we knew they were going to show parts of what I think 3 songs from the Dark Knight Carnival on a show called Japan Countdown.
Yes.
Who here watched that?
Is that, well, I saw the preview for it. I don't think the show's aired yet. Unless I totally missed it.
You totally missed it.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah. It was on TV Tokyo, and it was like Sunday morning at 9:30 in Japan. So it was like, after so it was actually kind of fun hanging out in the Discord, because several of us were kind of watching the streams. I paid for the stupid whatever it is, the expat Japan TV streaming. It used to be Fuji TV, I think. It's now whatever, 4Joy TV, for a month, so that I could see this thing. And it turned out that it was like 2 minutes long. There was like clips from 3 different songs, and like writing on the screen and talking over all of it. And so
how much did you pay to see that?
Should I admit this?
No, I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, I had to subscribe for a month, because I think that there used to be free, like free one day, like free 24 hours or something on Fuji TV, and it didn't exist anymore. So because I used that to watch Legend S and the whatever it is, Big Fox Festival on WoW. But yeah, I think it's like 30, something like that, somewhere around $30 a month. So I have to find something else to watch.
It's a lot.
I just pulled it up on YouTube, and I just have to redeem myself a little bit. I did see this. I guess I was confused because I expected there to be 3 actual songs because that was the last I'd heard of it. And I did see this video. I guess I just like I said, I expected there to be 3 full songs shown.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, I was starting to get the hint that something like this was going to happen when you look at it's like a half-hour show and they have like 15 different topics they're going to cover. This is one of them.
Right. Okay.
So, but it was kind of fun to hang out in the Discord and comment on the ads and the shows that were before.
Sure.
So, and actually, one other thing that's maybe somewhat relevant about the World Tour, Japan shows, is that they didn't sell out all their stuff at Dark Knight Carnival. So, at least, I mean, I don't know if it's still available, but the spare merch was available on ASmart.
Right.
ASmart. I don't know. How do you? I only type this. I don't pronounce it.
I've never had to say it out loud.
I was in my brain. I say ASmart. So
that's what I say too, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the one only. But I think actually by the time I looked, anything I cared about was sold out. So, anyone else want to throw anything in
about the merch?
What, the merch or the World Tour? I was about to.
Well, I didn't really like it. Okay, I knew a bunch of people that went over for the Japan shows, and I didn't ask for anything. That's kind of the first time I've not asked. Just wasn't really feeling it. I think they've had better merch. Yeah,
agreed. There was nothing. There's nothing that I wanted even. Like, yeah. I'm not a big shirts person myself, and none of them. And I didn't really want whatever it is, the skull pendant or whatever it is. All right. So let me move on to, I don't know what the time is. I paid no attention to when we started. So
we're at 32 minutes.
All right. That seems about right. So the next couple of things I wanted to talk about, I've labeled as mini topics in our own internal notes because I don't think there's as much to say about them. But mini topic, our third topic, the fan cams are disappearing. Amuse, it seems, has been knocking off a lot of some of the more prized fan cams. So who here thinks that's a good idea?
No, I don't think anybody does.
But yeah, so I mean, I have gone on a little bit of a downloading tear to try to download everything that's still there, and now anytime I see something, I will grab it. But is there anything? So Garrett, you had mentioned before we started recording that this affected something of yours.
Yeah, I was at the first show of the U.S. tour in Kansas City, and I was the first person to upload any fan cam footage from the show without Yui. So that was pretty big news, and the videos I recorded of Distortion got blown up all over the internet. It's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, I understand why they have to do it or why they want to do it. They're wanting to promote the album, not fan cam footage. I'm kind of indifferent about it and taking down my videos. I just think it's unfortunate they're taking everybody's down because I like watching them live a lot more than I like watching them or listening to them on the studio records. So it's just, I don't know, I like the fan experience point of view.
Yeah, definitely. Were there any ones that you can't find now that you wish you could?
Starlight.
Oh, is that you can't find? Is that gone now?
I don't think it ever existed, but I wanted it to.
It exists, I think.
Well, if it does, get it. I mean, find a way to download it.
I'm gonna try and find it now.
But he searched it up through the podcast.
you don't question me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There have been various opinions expressed about fan cams, and honestly, I don't think that there's much of a brain behind the takedowns. I suspect that there's a fair amount of just people saying or bots saying this this has the right keyword, or this, has some kind of fingerprint in it or something. I think there's like a real debate about what good or damaged fan cams do. I mean, but I can guarantee that there's no chance I would say, well, I'm not going to buy the Blu-ray because I'm happy with the fan cam.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
this is the first band that I've really followed super closely. Maybe somebody else with more experience can chime in. I was kind of under the impression that when groups are promoting new material or getting ready to drop a new album, this was kind of normal behavior to kind of purge the internet of unofficial content to steer people towards the official stuff. Does anybody have any knowledge or experience with that?
I've seen it happen before, but I don't fully understand why.
I guess from like a nerd search engine optimization point of view, I suppose it's possible that you don't want to be competing with the most popular fan cam when your news is the top. But
that's kind of what I was wondering was going on.
Yeah, it is. That is frustrating. And so the point that a lot of people make is that there are certain things that happen to just individual shows, like birthday celebrations or Yui singing Headbanger or whatever, that aren't on any Blu-ray. They're never going to be sold. I mean, we can pretty much guarantee, unless there's like 15 years from now some kind of big vault opening of all the old videos. But as far as we know, that was the only chance that anybody has to see it. It was designed probably for just that audience, so maybe that's important. But it does seem like we're all missing out if we can't see these.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, fortunately, it's not completely purged, and maybe this is a good time to promote Dailymotion. As far as I know, Dailymotion's upload service is really copyright friendly. You can get away with murder over there. So if you've got all that, if you have all that great stuff, maybe head on over there.
Right. Yeah. It's my search experience is not great, but yeah, I mean, and actually the ad experience is terrible.
It's terrible. Use an ad block.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think, so there is some debate about whether fan cams should exist in the first place because, they do say at the beginning, no flags, no recording, but I think, and actually, maybe one thing that I did want to say about the existence of fan cams. First of all, I don't actually believe that they believe no one's going to record, but one thing that I do think is kind of not cool about fan cams is when you are the fifth row back and you can't see anything because it's just a wall of cell phones in front of you.
Absolutely.
So I'm sympathetic with the idea of limiting it to kind of like non-obtrusive recording, but when I'm not actually there in the fifth row, I would like someone to have recorded it.
Paul, that's why I got to buy you $270 VIP ticket and get to the venue at 6 a.m. to be number 3 in line.
Exactly.
It's impossible to be number 1 in line.
So, Vars, I feel you've gotten left out of here a little bit. Is there any thoughts on the fan cams you wanted to put in?
Just expect one from me. Might kill someone during Gimme Chocolate.
Yeah.
Give me chocolate, I think is what he was trying to say. You cut out there a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Just expect me to kill someone during Gimme Chocolate. That'll be hilarious.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to hear what this turns out like in the end, because as we're recording it, a lot of us are cutting out here and there. So it could be that you have already listened to this. Yeah, I'm using Discord's push to talk by just holding down the talk key the whole time, which does seem like it's kind of a waste. But anyway.
For what it's worth, I haven't heard anybody cut out.
Okay, so maybe
here.
Okay.
Well, I can't hear myself. That's true.
So perhaps everything is good. We are hoping that everything is good. Okay, so the next sort of mini topic that I think is maybe worth mentioning here is that BMD Fox Apparel, we may all remember them from this sudden weird appearance that they made
the great
months
tease
ago. Yeah. But so I don't actually know that much about the thing itself, except that it's basically a clothing line that is affiliated with the band. I mean, it's I don't know who makes the clothes, but it is their clothing line. And they opened a pop-up store November 13th to 19th, so it's just closed now, or closing now, I think. Actually, there was just a tweet that went about it, and I don't know.
I think it's the last day today was the tweet.
Yeah, okay.
Day of recording.
Right. So, and it was a pop-up stand, in a, I guess, a mall or something. I wasn't really clear on where it was because I obviously was not going to be able to go, but it was kind of, there were photos of it. There's a little bit of special merch that was available just there, or not merch, but clothes. I forget now even what they were. Do you remember
where they were?
Or like what the special items were?
It's just athletic wear. It's the same stuff they introduced. I think it was earlier this year? The crazy design athletic wear that has no mention of the band, no logo, nothing like that, and it's really expensive. Yeah. It's all the same stuff.
Website. It was like a non-secure website.
Yeah, it's the hoodie. There's some sweatpants. There's some trainer-looking pants, shorts, I think, too.
Mm-hmm. But I think there was actually something that was special to the pop-up store. Anyway, whatever. The sort of main notable thing is that they actually had Moa and Zoo modeling it. So that
was cool.
A brief upload.
I'm always for new pictures.
Yeah. And actually in the merch domain, we also have from the official store, from babymetalstore.com, and I think it's supposed to be on the UK store as well, a new ugly holiday sweater for $65 and a prayer candle for $25. So,
pray to the fox god.
Yeah.
Apparently it's chocolate scented.
Oh, hey.
Oh, nice.
People say that the holiday sweater is not quite the same as one from last year, that it was that it's like a tighter knit and possibly cheaper, like cheaper in construction.
How much did the one last year cost?
That I don't
Anybody know? I remember it being like absurdly expensive.
That's always a good assumption with merch related to the band.
Yeah, they definitely have changed my perspective on the value of money. I mean, things look cheap now that never did before.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So maybe I'll just move to a couple of other, just kind of like quick topics that I had written down, and if any of us have any other things they want to add in here. But one thing that happened that was kind of interesting recently was that for a brief time, BABYMETAL was accidentally, we assume, followed by the BABYMETAL official account. He was the only one followed.
I would have loved to seen his face when he saw that notification.
Have a stroke instantaneously.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it's marvelous. It lasted for a day, I think, maybe most of a day. And, they were following exactly one person, and it was him. And he's a very deserving person.
Absolutely.
Probably one of the most dedicated fans there is. And one thing it does definitely mean is that they're aware of him. Like, whoever's running that account is aware of him.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I was just going to say that they were, they had to be looking at his profile to click, follow.
Yeah. Didn't he post like a lot of the close-up fan cam footage?
Yeah, a lot of his fan cams got the Amuse band hammer.
What conspiracy time? What if they followed him so they could DM him to warn him of the purge?
I think that's really unlikely.
Yep.
I think it's along the same lines of the BABYMETAL official account tweeting about the World Cup and supporting, I think it was Korea was playing at the time.
Oh, like
somebody just forgot to switch accounts. Yeah. It was a football match between South Korea, and I forget who they were playing during the World Cup, but somebody tweeted on the BABYMETAL account, like, go South Korea, which was promptly deleted.
Oh, during the World Cup.
It was during the World Cup, yeah. So who knows how many people have the credentials to log into their socials, so somebody just forgot to switch their account.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. GN Official, the graphic novel, social media has been starting to follow a few people, and I was planning on talking about them later. Oh, and actually, maybe one thing that I'll say about the graphic novel, we probably will. I think we're going to try to contain our discussion about the graphic novel, not like the contents at least of the graphic novel, to one episode later that you can not listen to if you want to. You have our permission not to listen to that episode. But yeah, anyway, the generally speaking, though, the graphic novel official account, the Z2 account, and Chomi Chuck himself have been just fantastic on Twitter. And probably Instagram too, but I haven't been checking. So they have had a lot to do, I think, with the improvement of mood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for a while though, they were the only news related to the band.
Yeah.
And they're interactive, and they read what you write and write back. So
yeah, they all seem like great guys.
Other things that are obviously on the horizon, we have the Good Things Festival is rapidly approaching. I think we're going to have one more recording before it, but then the episode after it, we're going to have to hear all about it. So, what are you going to one of the shows, all of the shows, as far as?
I'm only going to the Melbourne show. It's very expensive going to all three festivals. They're like $180 Australian each.
Okay, I can understand that, but that's got to be exciting, though. I mean, like, we may all remember who are on the Discord what happened when they announced that.
Yeah, I was just I woke up one morning and I just was scrolling through Twitter. I think I was following Metal Incarnate. Shout out to him. And he just said, "Oh, BABYMETAL's coming to Australia." I was like, "Yeah, right, mate, yeah." And I look at the set list for this like festival called Good Things that says BABYMETAL, and I'm like jumping out of my seat, like freaking out. I'm like, "No, this is fake." And then I saw the official account and I was just freaking out. I like called my mom and was like, "Dude, I need a ticket to this now. Help."
Mom, credit card.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I was on the Discord. Some people, like, I was getting tagged all day, and there was people tagging me like, "Oh, isn't Vaz Australian?" You know, this, that, and like this whole year, I was like, there's times where I've like wanted them to come to Australia and always freaked out, like, oh, it probably will never happen until next year or the year after. But then all of a sudden I wake up one morning and they're coming this year, which is just insane to me. So yeah, I can't wait for that. It's in 3 weeks' time. It's just going to be insane.
Yeah, I'm sure we all envy you the possibility of an upcoming show.
First show for you too, right?
Yeah. I've never been to a BABYMETAL show before.
Oh, I'm jealous of your excitement.
Yeah. And there's a Singapore show even also between now and then. I don't know. Haven't thought very much about that. But anyway, we might. I think if we do go on a 2-week schedule, it'll still be just after the next recording. But
yes. December 3rd is that show, I think.
Sounds
4th, I think.
4th?
Yeah,
right around
4th.
there.
So let's see. Other things that have happened. The graphic novel has had a lot of the news recently. So Kerrang! Magazine has actually a pretty big 12-page pullout of I forget now even what it is, chapter 1 and 2 or something of the graphic novel. And the BABYMETAL store has some related merch. Starlight is apparently affiliated with this graphic novel as the image song, some sort of official song. A-Smart has an interview with the artist. And something, so I assume that, does anyone have the magazine?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. Yeah, I also have it. I have 2, in fact. But, and, I sort of flipped through it and said, yeah, that's indeed what this is. By now I have 5 of the graphic novels.
Oh, wow.
Gee.
6. I have 1 of every cover, and then but I have 2 of the Barnes & Noble ones.
Don't think, just spend.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about the graphic novel more later, but the big bit of news that I think we have to mention now is that Callie Matthews got the very first deluxe one and did a wonderful like YouTube unboxing and demonstration of it. She didn't show any of the contents of it, but Wow. Did you guys watch this?
I did. Maybe take a moment, if people don't know who this person is, if you could just maybe provide a little bit of insight.
Well, and I don't know if anyone can do this better than me, because I only know that she has done. I've seen a number of kind of like unboxing / reviews of other deluxe editions, the 1 editions, things like that of BABYMETAL recordings. She makes very sort of good YouTube videos. They're fun to watch. She's thorough about what she talks about there, and it's fun to watch them because she loves them. So, but yeah, so she's gotten herself to a point where she's sort of a famous fan, and somehow she got. This because she was a famous fan, she got the attention of Z2, and they asked her if she wanted to be to do one of these unboxing review videos of the deluxe edition, which is it's a large scale version of the graphic novel in a very sort of fancy biblical looking cover, and so they sent it to her and she put the review up. But I don't know, was there something else that I missed there?
No, I think you nailed it, and good for her. I'm glad to see at least somebody in the fan base is getting recognized by somebody at least 1 degree separated from the band.
Right. No, that was the video was delightful. It's clear that she was completely, stunned by this.
Yeah.
And I mean, the idea that, all of us sort of have put a fair amount of investment in them, in the band. We've sort of devoted a lot of our mental energy to them, and it's very weird to think that any of that could be coming back the other direction.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
So yeah. Anyway, I don't know, Garrett. Did you have a chance to see that?
I did not know. I'll watch it later tonight.
I don't know what your relationship is to the graphic novel. Do you have it? I
do not have it yet. I went to my local Barnes & Noble and they did not have it yet. And I might just end up ordering it online somewhere here in the next day or two.
Okay. Yeah. Did anyone else here order the deluxe one?
No. I don't even know what edition to call it. I was a day 1 pre-order on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. That's...
It's the black cover with with the Eclipse softback.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I debated a while and then did finally order the deluxe one, because of course I thought they were going to sell out. They have, as far as I know, they have not sold out. But yeah, so it is a very expensive. This is a very expensive version of it, but the art is all full sized. So. And if you watch this video, Callie's video, it is so big. This is such a large book. It's like as big as 2 of her heads. I think if you look at the picture of her holding it up. So
I don't know what I'd do with it. It's so big.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I too was. It was expensive enough that I'm happy. It's there's a lot of content. I guess the price per ounce is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, even if we don't want to talk about it really yet, the art is spectacular. I'm really pleased with the art inside. So to have it kind of in a big print in a hardback would be pretty special.
Mm-hmm. And it comes with, I think, 2 prints, 2 that are outside the book. So, and
right.
They're signed.
Right.
And sketched in. So yeah, it's very expensive. It's a pretty big deal though. And I'm just blown away that they gave her this one. I think that is the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
Definitely.
All right. I think, again, I have not watched the clock, so but we've got to be, well over when we want it to be. So anyone else want to say anything on any of these things? Any news that I missed?
No, I think you're there.
Okay. And of course, there are big topics that we didn't talk about, and we will talk about them in the future. But I think we will say that is it for this episode. So join us on the Baby Metal Podcast Discord to continue the conversation, and rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it. So please do that. We'll be back here in about 2 weeks, and we hope you'll join us. And until then, see you.